But him, and everybody around him. I don't have to be nice. George Clooney is not a actor. You. What do you have to do with anything? Why do I have to listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times to undermine the president at a time in which, by the way, what do people care about the most? Why do you think that the Republicans have an advantage over us? Because they're unified. They will go along with anything. I wasn't asking anybody to go along with anything. I was asking people to go along with this. The most successful administration in my lifetime.
So you may have seen, because this is going massively viral, it is the talk of the political world at the moment because of how utterly ridiculous and frankly kind of hilarious it is. But today, apparently, Hunter Biden is intent on launching some type of media tour. He wants to go back into public life in some way, shape, or form. And he's doing so by sitting down for interviews where he discusses matters of Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Democratic Party leadership, the current state of our politics, to which I really have to beg the question, who asked? Like, who asked Hunter Biden? I'm not exactly sure. You know, if you were Hunter, you would think you probably for at least the next few years would not really want to show your face or dabble that much into public life. And yet still he is going out here, not just speaking out, but even apparently crowning himself to be some type of moral authority within the Democrat Party, going so far, as you'll see in today's interview, as to floating the idea of him potentially being a future president. Now, with all of that in mind, I have to say on one front, that's just utterly ridiculous. Again, Hunter Biden going to be the moral crusader on frankly anything. But on the other hand, I think there's a genuine point to be had that the current state of Democratic Party leadership is so utterly pathetic that, hey, maybe they could use someone like Hunter Biden, right? I mean, after all, is he really that much worse of a face of the party than Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer? Heck, Hunter Biden might have a higher national approval rating than them. I mean, quite seriously there, right? You know, it's just a question I'd like to pose there. And frankly, when you judge the other moral leaders of the Democrat Party like George Floyd and Kilmar Brego Garcia, one could even make the case Hunter Biden is better in that regard as well. So truly, I'm fully on board with this idea, Democrats. Hunter Biden should be the 2028 favorite, especially after this interview. It's truly entertaining to witness. And hey, you might even see an upgrade in that regard. But with all of that in mind, besides the jokes here, an interesting part of this interview is not only that he completely loses his mind, he has a total and utter crash out. It would appear at the moment that, I don't know, supposedly he's rehabbed, supposedly he doesn't do the drugs anymore. He doesn't really seem to be that in the case, or at the very least, he seems like a guy who's in very nasty withdrawals, and that's why he's so bitter. But with all of that in mind, he did entertainingly here have some choice words for Democrat Party establishment leadership, the very characters like Nancy Pelosi, who of course pushed his dad out of the 2024 presidential election. So not only is this an entertaining meltdown by Hunter Biden, it is also a kind of inciting fire for more infighting in the Democrat Party. So we're here to see it, and we fully endorse the idea of Hunter Biden running for president. With that said, though, guys, do us a favor. If you enjoy our content, before you get into this, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Subscribing is not only the best way to support our videos, but it also ensures that you can stay up to date with all of the latest news and coverage. And with that said, so newsflash first and foremost, I know this is shocking to everyone, but just as a starter here, it's worth noting that Hunter Biden's re-entry into public life to be some type of political leader isn't off to a great start. Take a listen.
No. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, because they think cocaine, Scarface, very cool. Yeah. Crack cocaine, they think The Wire.
Oh, in that sense, oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't know how similar the chemical compounds are.
No, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is and heat, literally. That's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar, cocaine, and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
It's vastly, vastly different.
Let's be honest, we're not getting any younger, and if you want to look and feel your best, you need to check out Pure Health Research. They have 45 premium health supplements designed to help you with every health goal, whether it's boosting your energy, trimming belly fat, supporting healthy blood sugar, pumping testosterone up, or even reducing the swelling swelling in your legs, Pure Health Research Supplement Store has you covered. Each formula is crafted with natural, non-GMO ingredients backed by clinical research and manufactured right here in the USA. And here's the best part. Pure Health Research is offering you an exclusive 35% discount. Just go to purehealthresearch.com and use coupon code Vince at checkout. With their 365-day money-back guarantee, there is zero risk in trying something new. So why wait? Head over to purehealthresearch.com and explore their 45 amazing supplements and save 35% before this deal ends with coupon code Vince. Don't miss this chance to start and spend the year feeling your best.
And like for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities so that it combines with the sodium bicarbonate, which makes it smokable. That's all. You know, all of these actors and, you know, people in the past that talked about they had a problem with cocaine and freebasing. They were smoking crack.
So straw on the stove is the same thing?
Not exactly, but close to it. But it's a little bit different. But anyway.
Thank you for that, I guess, Hunter. I mean, what? So it might be one thing, frankly, if this were a personal interview, because you want to separate. Okay, if he has a personal interview talking about his battle with drug addiction and how he got over it, then I guess that's fine, right? You know, I mean, fine, fair enough, right? A lot of people have suffered from this problem throughout their life. If you want to take Hunter Biden as your leader in this regard, you know, how to get over addiction, although, as you'll see, I'm not sure he really did, but okay, whatever, fair enough. But this is, of course, coming in the same exact interview where he indeed does want to weigh in on the issues of politics. And well, with that said, I mean, just take a listen here as Hunter Biden provides his wonderful insights on the issues of illegal immigration, and you'll rapidly just see how utterly ridiculous this whole thing is. Take a listen.
And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are criminals. White men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a violent crime than an immigrant. And the media says, well, you got David Axelrod and, you know, Rahm Emanuel. So smart Rahm Emanuel. And so we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Rahm, the only people that appealed to those white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes. And he did not because he appeased their Trumpian sense, but because he challenged it. And he said, you can be an 81-year-old Catholic from Scranton that doesn't understand it, but still has empathy for transgender people and immigrants. And then nobody said, oh, Joe Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter how much they said it. But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead. I say, you. How are we getting those people back from El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the president of El Salvador and say, you either send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a crime what they're doing. He's a dictator thug.
Bukele or Trump?
Both.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so obviously a lot to unpack there. He starts off the clip by having a meltdown over illegal immigration. Obviously, his vested interest apparently seems to be preserving his dad's legacy of opening the borders and allowing violent criminals en masse to pour into this country, probably tens of millions of people potentially who flooded over that border. So, okay, fair enough. But then he goes on further to call out two figures. This is where it gets interesting in Democratic Party leadership and sort of advising world specifically. David Axelrod and Rahm Emanuel, which is notable for a number of reasons. Of course, those two were both voices in essentially saying that Joe Biden ought to get out of the 2024 race. But it's also notable that those two specifically come from Obama world, right? Axelrod was a advisor to Obama, one of the top ones there. Rahm Emanuel was, of course, the DNC director back during those years. And if you know something about the inner dynamics there between Biden, Obama, all that stuff, it was largely the Obama camp and also obviously the Pelosi camp who were big in pushing him out of the race. And so in sort of adding fuel to the fire of the hostilities here, that is Hunter Biden basically taking a direct shot back at Obama world saying, hey, screw you, of course, promoting the idea here that somehow it was the wrong idea to get Biden out of the 2024 race. Now, with that said, I gotta say, Democrats might have been screwed anyway, but it's an objective fact at the same time. The idea that Biden somehow would have won if he stayed in the race is just utterly ridiculous. I feel like it barely even has to be addressed. He was minus 10 in some of the national polling. We all saw the June 27th debate. We remember even Butler, Pennsylvania, massive moment that boosted Trump. There was absolutely no shot for Joe Biden at all whatsoever. But if he wants to promote that fantasy, I mean, as I said, I'm essentially here rooting for and definitely down to see all of those great, wonderful fireworks erupt and explode. That said, okay, he then further transitions to speaking as if he's the president. He literally says, if I was the president, El Salvador wouldn't be doing this. I don't know. Does he plan to invade El Salvador? Would he bomb them? Would he sanction them? Who knows? But speaking, if I was president 2 to 3 years from now, El Salvador would not be doing any of this. Quite the interesting statement there. I don't know. I gotta say, again, Hunter, I don't know why he's trying to be some type of moral voice, again, leader here in the party, but I fully endorse the concept, okay? Imagine Gavin Newsom sitting there in the 2028 Democrat primary, and he's cruising. He's thinking, look, I'm the most cunning sociopath in this race. I got it going on. I know how to do this. I'm beating all the other Democrats. Imagine the nuclear bomb that is the Hunter Biden phenomenon, okay, coming into this race, utterly stealing all of his thunder. It would be a hilarious thing to see. I'm not necessarily saying I think Hunter's running for president, but it is kind of worth questioning, what is his angle here? Why is he suddenly going out and speaking like this? No idea, but who knows? Hunter 2028, guys? Anyone? Now, with that said, it doesn't stop, okay? This just unhinged, likely either drug-fueled or withdrawal-fueled in some ways meltdown, because he then further here, guys, goes on to call out many of the other figures who screwed over Joe Biden in the end. George Clooney, of course, you may remember one major guy who, when Clooney flipped, that was almost a catalyst in causing the meltdown that resulted in Kamala being switched in. James Carville, another figure he calls out here in this race. David Axelrod, obviously. Pod Save America. He's calling out everyone. He's just throwing freaking firecrackers in the middle of the whole kind of Democrat old guard saying, screw all you people. Why is that the case? I don't know. Because Hunter is in charge now, guys. Again, new leader of the Democrat Party, putting everyone on notice. I say, guys, make this guy in charge of the DNC. Heck, he'd probably spend the money much more effectively, frankly, than Ken Martin currently is, or, the people before him. But, okay, anyways, take a listen. Here is that epic crash out so you can hear it for yourself.
Opinions, but
Him and everybody around him. I don't have to be nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. George Clooney is not a actor. He is a I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. What do you have to do with anything? Why do I have to listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the New York Times to me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of David Axelrod and David Plouffe and all of these guys and the Pod Save America guys who were junior speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made $40-50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times. How to pass more legislation than any president in history. how to have a better midterm election than anybody in history and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. And they're going to replace their judgment for his.
Not to mention,
Who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper?
my mom or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
For real, though. I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
By the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to shit after he put the book out. You know, they did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice to everybody that he serves with.
Again, what is happening right now? I don't really know. I'm dumbfounded. You know, for once on this channel, I don't really have anything to say. I'm at a loss for words. I don't even have an analysis of this. I'm just like, what is happening right now? It's insane, right? With that in mind, though, I do have to say, I was almost rooting for Hunter a little bit in that clip, okay? Because he does have a point in the sense he's calling out a lot of these characters like, oh, Axelrod won an election because he, carried Obama, even though Obama was going to win anyway. Carville, he has not won an election, as Hunter says there. Yes, true, in 20 years. Why are you listening to these people? I mean, that's not to say, by the way, that senile 81 to 82-year-old Joe Biden was any better at this, but still, okay, to see the entire Democrat leadership basically just get freaking dunked on, it was kind of satisfying. That said, I don't know what's wrong with Hunter. I mean, he's just completely losing his mind right now. Is this some type of angry panic because he understands his government protection is no longer there? Because, you have this. He was pardoned, but then there's the auto pen scandal. I mean, who knows really what's happening in this regard? But it's worth noting of recent Hunter Biden media appearances. So we've had, Carville, Tapper, Emanuel, Axelrod, all these characters. Hunter Biden is not done with his scorched earth policy because he even recently went after Nancy Pelosi for obviously very similar reasons. And again, I'm just here truly to grab the popcorn and watch because this is astounding. Take a listen.
And you would have the Speaker Emeritus that would say, well, I'm going to leave it up to, but I don't know. And they had already made a decision. They had clearly made a decision. And when I say they, I mean the speaker. And, I heard Alexandra Pelosi say something, call my like, put your big girl pants on to my mom or something. And I kind of feel like saying, who the fuck do you think you are? I would never speak about your mom that way.
Yeah.
I would never speak about your father that way. I would never insult your parents that way, even to this day.
Again, what is happening? I have no idea. You have to wonder, too, at the same time, if this is kind of a coordinated op by the Biden family, essentially, likely probably Jill. She seems like the one who would be doing this. Kind of sending him out to be the attack dog, the mouthpiece against the figures that screwed them over in the Democrat Party. Of course, you may remember that Joe Biden is set to publish a book in around the 2026 midterms, actually, that supposedly might be a tell-all of his presidency. I don't really know. But with all of that in mind, as I said, I think it's also worth noting, again, new leader here of the Democrat Party, that to be totally frank with you, listening to Hunter speak, okay, not saying it's amazing or something, but he is frankly a million times more charismatic and more convincing than like most Democrat politicians out there. I gotta be honest. I gotta be totally honest, right? You compare this guy to say a Tim Walz, okay? Hunter Biden is I'm not even joking right now. He is more compelling than most of the people running the Democrat Party. So, as much as we're going to joke, again, new leader of the party. No, you could actually see a scenario where Hunter Biden establishes a following because at least he has passion. At least he seems real, right? It may be, clouded with substances and all this stuff, but like a real human being is speaking to you right now with passion and energy. I don't know. Just some thoughts there. With all that in mind, though, I guess our last low light, because there is a lot to talk about from this interview, is, of course, when Hunter tries to answer questions about the laptop. And he's being defiant about this, actually, right? That's the thing. That's the difference between Hunter and, like, the Democrat politicians who try to weasel their way. He just straight up is like, that was me. It's like, because his answer here is apparently to say that, hey, everyone has a laptop. So there you go. Take a listen.
My question to anybody that is keeping an open mind is, what is it that you think the laptop proves, or what you call the laptop? So everybody has a laptop. So when they say Hunter Biden's laptop, what is it that they're talking about? Do you know?
Well, I know that you, your entire iCloud was connected to it. All of your personal text messages, private photos, all that kind of stuff.
Like everybody's laptop, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you left it with a repair shop owner. Particularly, I think the New York Post was involved in the spearheading of this mass dissemination of your private materials. From what it seemed like, it was a lot of private text between you and your friends, family. Your entire sort of private life was on there.
Yeah. And again, so everybody has a laptop. Everybody has a cloud.
I'm assuming not.
No, not everybody has a laptop. Everybody has a digital life. Almost everybody has a digital life. Everybody has a digital life, pretty much. And that includes voicemails and pictures and text messages and emails and location data and, everything. Everybody, you do, everybody that is here right now. By whatever means, they got my digital footprint going back decades.
That's his excuse for the infamous laptop from hell. Everyone has one. No, we don't all have what you have on it. But with that in mind, I once again got to say, he's not a bad gaslighter, okay? He really does give Gavin Newsom a run for his money. I'm telling you, the 2028 primary between Hunter Biden and Gavin Newsom would be one for the ages, truly. Just saying. But, okay, with all of that in mind, guys, I don't know what's happening here. This is basically the Biden family's attempt to,
Opinions?
I guess, revamp their image, I guess, in some way. Not really sure. Hunter does not really seem like he's all that recovered from his past issues. I mean, he definitely has not gotten any calmer, for sure. But with all that in mind, guys, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section down below, because I'm dumbfounded by it. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.